I'll be right back.
Okay.
A lot of people signed up. That's so few people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey, Tracy.
I thought it was maybe holidays related, perhaps.
that's what I was thinking too. I think the timing too, like for a lot of people that signed up, I don't normally see them on at this hour necessarily.
Yeah, is this like really late for you guys?
No, I'm on West Coast. It's only 6:15.
Oh. I mean, it's not super late for East Coast. It's only 9 p.m. by
Yeah.
Florida, so that's not terrible.
Oh, hey, Humes. Humes just popped into chat. Let's see.
I just have this on my phone on speakerphone while I'm going around my apartment, like, decorating for my party tomorrow. I'm, like, hanging up snowflakes and shit.
Oh, nice. Humes, I'm not doing fractals. I am teaching how rangers work today. I'll give it another, like, minute to see if we get anyone else who wants to pop into party.
I mean, hopefully more people show up, otherwise it would be kind of maybe a little silly to do ranger class with a bunch of veterans.
Yeah. I mean, we've got,
I could listen about Untamed. I don't know much about Untamed for that, you know. So, like, I'd like to hear about that, I suppose. But, like, Soul Beast, I got covered.
yeah.
I know the least about Untamed, but I still don't know how to use Hammer on Soul Beast.
I have trouble counting the autos on Hammer, but I do like, in terms of being a replacement for Greatsword anyway, it satisfies me because of bonk bonk bonk. That's all I ask for.
I wish Greatsword was meta.
Better. Yeah, me too. I miss it. But Hammer's fun. It scratches the itch, so I'm satisfied with it for now.
Okay. For 2 more and party if... Yeah, I'll just kind of like, especially with how many people are here, I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm definitely up for doing another ranger class. I'll probably, especially it's kind of hard to like fit everything about ranger and...
Yeah, like just Druid on its own could be a class.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to probably be going over more overarching things that are not super hyper in depth, just because even though this is my main, I tend to not have incredibly in-depth knowledge of most classes, but I'll be able to tell people enough for them to be dangerous, and then we can go into further details on individual class or individual like builds and specs and stuff, maybe in future ones.
And this time your stream gets to feature a bunch of me squeaking.
Oh yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I put the plush sky scale on my Winter's Day character.
Nice.
Okay, I guess it's just gonna be 3 of us hanging out in here.
I just joined.
There's more.
Yeah. No, I mean 3 like in the party, like in the
Oh,
instance.
got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
All good. Hey, Noemi.
I'll do it if you too, but I am puttering around my apartment taking care of things, so.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, most of it's gonna be out like listening, so that is fine. Yes, rangers are open. No MB. I also just said your name with a B. No MB.
Rangers are open.
Yeah. Oh, Zarl, I just saw you logged on. Did you want to join the party, or were you doing other stuff?
I am thinking about it because I got invited into a Vink 2,
Oh, nice.
and I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Yeah, Zargal is a gamer. He was saying you're a
Which
gamer.
half of the Vargal brain cell is probably worth several pugs.
Yeah. I guess I'll just kind of dive into some basics about Ranger first. As I'm sure you probably noticed, the special profession skill that rangers get is that they have a pet. Generally, on every elite spec that ranger has, that you actually have your pet out and running around. They will have a single F2 skill. However, well, except for on Untamed, then they get 3 different skills. The Soul Beast spec allows you to merge with your pet, so that's why you see the pet kind of disappear and turn into this other thing when I do that sometimes. Hey Kai, thank you for the hydrate. I have hydrated myself. I really like Ranger for open world, and honestly
so
for
good.
PvE just in general. It's also really nice for worldview. It's just, it is a great class. There's a reason it's my main. I fucking love it. If you can already tell. So, okay, let me get into some trait line things here. My
Maybe
cat's name...
bring up flanking.
Huh?
I think that's relevant even for. I should maybe bring up flanking. I think that's relevant even for core, isn't it?
Yeah, flanking, if you have the trait where you get, which, you know, I should probably know exactly which trait it is, but there's a trait where you get more DPS when you are flanking.
Vicious Quarry, maybe? I can't remember without being in front of my computer.
I think Vicious Quarry is the one that's with, on CC or something.
No, that's Tav.
Fury grants...
Twice as vicious.
Vicious Quarry is... Oh, twice as vicious? Yeah, that sounds right. What is...
That's for the CC one.
Where on earth is it?
It might be in the marksmanship trait line, which is kind of a niche choice anyway, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, marksmanship, if you... So on a longbow build, marksmanship is generally great to have, specifically because it has...
Lead the wind, right?
Yeah, lead the wind is the one that you really want, because it makes your longbow skills pierce, as well as recharging faster.
Sorry, I'll go.
Huh?
I'll have to go. Those are friends I haven't talked to in like half a year, so...
Oh, okay, no worries,
Okay.
Zarg.
Bye.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, so marksmanship, if you're going to go for a longbow, definitely grab this line. In general, longbow is going to be a power-preferred weapon. You're going to want to go with power stats. And for the rest of your build, you know, if you're going with just core, skirmishing is good for also a little extra DPS. In particular, if you're wielding a sword, it's going to increase your DPS there. You also get an increase to your ferocity based upon your health threshold, which is great. Skirmishing ends up being one that can be used... Well, Spotter used to be used, it's not really used anymore. But skirmishing ends up being useful for both power and condi builds because of how it has sharpened edges and hidden barbs. Both of those deal with increasing bleed damage, and you're going to be using them on any sort of ranger condi build. Wilderness Survival is going to be your trait choice for anything when you need more survivability. It's got some great stuff in there. I really like it for open world. I really like it for PvP, particularly things like Oakheart Salve, which you gain regeneration when you're inflicted with bleeding or poison. While you have regeneration, your strike damage taken is reduced by 5%. Is Wilderness Survival... Actually, Wilderness Survival is even taken for condi builds. Let me swap over there. Yeah, because... So you can see here I've got Skirmishing, which I already talked about, and then Wilderness Survival is the other one, because although Oakheart Salve is good for survivability, and like so is Natural Vigor, and all that seems like it helps, you have Taste for Danger, which increases your expertise based off of your vitality. There's a lot of traits that are like this in the game right now. Which is why Snowcrows is generally recommending that for max DPS on your build, for all builds, you want to have a goal of a tier 10 Jadebot core because of how that increases your vitality, and then as a result, your damage scales too.
And the armor reinforcement buff. So many people sleep on that, but it's really good.
Yeah, it's nice. As you can see with Ambidextry, you gain condition damage and then Poison Master, increasing poison. So definitely heavy Condi trait line within here. But if you look at these other ones, I mean, these are definitely good for... Actually, let me share those of you who are in Discord voice. I'm now streaming my screen so you can see as I'm pointing at them. Kai, I can't remember if I started to answer you and I think I got distracted. That cat's name is Nutmeg, and we have another one named Lancelot. So, yeah. These other ones, things like empathic bond, removing condis, or this is kind of interesting. Inflicts poison. I think shared anguish I've maybe used in PvP before or something. But yeah, so there's some good options there that really make open world survivability pretty comfortable on Ranger, especially because of how you can have your pet out there tanking for you. Longbow
So good.
has such a huge distance on it, especially with Longbow 5. Let me actually pull a Longbow out. So it's Longbow 5. I mean, this is massive. This is huge. The only downside about it is that, like, you have to stay put while you cast it. But what's also really nice about Longbow is that you can, like, it's still going. So you can precast it on fights. You know, like, there is a... Okay, come back here, Piggy. There is actually still a Ranger build out there. That's one thing about Power Soul Beast that I really like, is there's actually a bit of flexibility in the weapons that you choose. Technically, you know, if you go axe, hammer, which is currently the highest DPS, yeah, you're going to have the highest. But taking longbow instead of hammer, or taking sword instead of axe, is not that much of a DPS loss. So it's nice to have that flexibility. I feel like most other classes do not have quite that same amount of flexibility.
Like Sage still runs longbow and stuff, and he destroys shit. So
Yeah.
longbow's still very much viable if you kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah. And what's great too about longbow is, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for really low intensity rotations with Power Soul Beast. So you would start off and you precast your longbow 5, and then it's done. The fight starts, and then you can just hang out on sword the whole time. And just do sword axe the whole time. Similarly, if you took axe instead of sword, it's honestly virtually the exact same rotation. Before I get too into the weeds and start going into the rotation about Power Soul Beast, let me rein myself back and finish talking about these straight lines. Nature Magic is one that is only used for healing builds, really. So if I swap to... Oh, I have to get rid of the golem so I can actually be out of combat. Can I be out of... Okay, I'm out of combat now. There we go. So this is my heal Untamed build. My heal Druid build is very similar, as you can see. Both using Nature Magic trait line. I'm actually kind of surprised that this is what I have. That I have marksmanship as the primary on Druid, but I don't know. I think I just grabbed it from Snowcrows, and I haven't looked at it in depth in a while.
Maybe for Lead the Winds?
Yeah.
Oh, you've Predator's Onslaught. I think that's more of like a... Because they do try to squeeze a lot of DPS out. I'm a big fan of Lead the Wind for the swap cooldown.
Yeah. Where's the one? Increase strike damage to disabled.
Which one are you looking for?
This is why I have it. It's for Moment of Clarity.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
what's really fantastic about Druid is exactly how much CC it can bring and how much healing it can bring. In EXP groups or groups that are looking to really compress roles, you know, they're going with one healer, you can absolutely do that with Druid, and Druid is probably the easiest class to do that on, to solo heal, for an entire group of 10 people. You know, when I did Ready Check Cup, and Miko was maining Druid the whole time, he just, like, deletes CC bars. And a lot of that has to come with, first this trait here, which increases the duration of stun and daze effects that you inflict. And then on top of that, doing things like precasting your pet CC skills, because they always take forever to cast. So getting comfortable enough with the fight that you can cast it right before that CC bar is going to hit, and it just immediately gets deleted. So lots of fun things there to do with Druid. Beast Mastery line is used in, I think, is it used also in... That's Power Soul Beast.
Yeah, I think Beast Mastery is spell Power Soul Beast then.
Yeah, I think it's only in Power Soul Beast. Which is a little bit interesting, actually.
Probably because so many of the things that apply to the pet now apply to you.
I
so
think
you
so,
super
too.
want buffed.
Yeah, I mean, Pet's
Like,
Prowess
because-
is so nice.
yeah.
So what's really
That
great...
one minor trait that always makes you fast. Love that
Exactly.
shit.
So Pet's Prowess will make it so that your pet moves faster, but you're merged with your pet. So that means that when you merge with your pet, you move faster. So here's me, normal run. And then I'm going to merge. That's quite a bit faster. It is so nice. I'm spoiled by it. You don't even have to take that foot
I
signet.
do
Actually, if I
What
I
take
do
happens
the
when you
same
have
thing.
pets?
Anytime I have to follow people, I merge.
yeah, it's
Because I'm
so
faster.
nice. Plus on top of that with like, there's just so many good movement skills now with like, well, you've got sword 2 and 3, which like I just leaped across the entire arena with those. And if you're taking hammer, then hammer 5 also has a leap on it, which is pretty fun. Greatsword is not really used anymore. Here's that hammer 5, which is also a pretty large leap. So you can do those 3 leaps in a row, plus your speed. Oh, and you've got a charge. You get a lot of movement. It's very nice. Like I was saying, Greatsword is not really used as a primary build anymore. I'm not sure where it falls in the DPS meter at this point. I think it's...
Not shit awful, but it's definitely not top anymore.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's, negligible difference anymore. It's more like, you're gonna hurt a little bit from it, but
yeah.
Technically you could still use it. It also has this sword 3, which is my favorite thing about it. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say whether that's my favorite thing or if the 252 combo is my favorite. The 252 combo is that, if I spawn a golem, then I'm gonna have to like clear it immediately. Okay, just respawn it. So I'll go up here, and when you hilt bash with 5, it will recharge Maul. So I go 2, 5, and immediately 2 again. And Maul is your primary DPS on your greatsword. Going into weapons, something that's really nice is that the patterns in them as far as their damage profile goes. So I was just talking about 252 on greatsword. If we go over to longbow, 2 and 5 are also our primary damage skills. 4 is also one, but I mean, look at it. Like the damage is 989. I mean, I don't have any boons on right now. Versus like 4,500 and 7.4, or 4.5 thousand and 7.4 thousand. So yeah, that is a trend among the dual wielding weapons, power weapons anyway. With hammer, it's a little different because of how there's so many options. So the thing with Untamed is that they get different skills based on whether they are in... Now I'm on Untamed right now. So if I unleash Ranger, I get all of these different skills on my hammer. Whereas if I unleash the pet, I get these ones on my hammer. So it's a little bit different on here. You still are going to have 2 be one of your primary damage skills and 5 as well, but actually 4 is more a primary than 5 is. You'll only hit 5 once in your hammer rotation, but you hit 2 and 4 twice. You also will hit 3 once. So that one's a little bit different, and it did take me a little bit of getting used to that just because it wasn't the same kind of pattern anymore. On your weapon set where you've got 2 one-handed weapons, it's pretty much always a similar pattern of like 2, 4, 3 all the time, and then in the case of Power Soul Beast, since you get 5 is such a long cast time, you want to get all of your other weapon skills out of the way, and then just you whirl for a while, because you can't move while you're doing Whirling Defense. One thing to remember about Whirling Defense is that it is a reflect projectile, which can be great. For example, in the middle of Freynair the other day in Strikes, and we forgot to bring Projectile Destruct for like the Golem phase, and my rotation perfectly lined up with it, so I just reflected them during my Axe 5. So it can be a boon, but on bosses like Cairn, you need to be careful about it, because you don't want to reflect shards back at the stack when he's throwing them. Let's see. Condi weapons, we even still have a similar pattern. 2 and 5 are going to be your big ones for short bow. And granted, at this point, usually what's a little more popular, wait, am I on the right? No, I'm on the right build, is dagger, torch, and axe dagger. Those are meta builds for the Condi sets. You can drop dagger torch to take short bow instead, but it is a little bit of a DPS loss. But the way that I think about it is that then you have range, which is really nice, and you also have more CC, because your concussion shot, even though it's part of your rotation, is a daze and a stun, so that does decent CC. And otherwise on Condi builds, you have like, I've got like no fucking CC on here. Look at this, my pet doesn't have any CC, none of this is any CC. This is the only CC that I have as a Condi Soul Beast. Or on Condi Druid, it's a little bit different, because you've got your trap, which is a launch, and you've got a number of soft CCs in the form of mobs. Condi Druid is heavy into a mobs. That's where you get a bunch of your damage. And you would think that I would know exactly which trait it is that does it, but I do not. It's somewhere in here. You can just trust me on it. I'm not going to spend time digging around for it. So the other thing that happens with Druid, okay, so your mob, you've got it on your Jacaranda, you've got it on your Entangle, and you have it on Signet of the Wild. So unlike on a power build where this sits here and gives you power, gives you ferocity with an F, not with a V, you want to use this off cooldown on Condi Druid to be getting that in Mob, which gives stacks of bleeding. Similarly, in CA, you have 3 and 5, which are both are going to do hard CC. One is a slow and one is a daze, but it also applies in Mob on Druid. So, is that all of the Condi weapons? As far as the actual rotation on the Condi weapons goes, I probably should know it better than I do. I have not. Yeah, for the most part, you just kind of press things. You kind of skip dagger 3. You don't really need dagger 3. If I don't really have anything else going on, like I'm waiting for a weapon, waiting for a weapon cooldowns and for Celestial Avatar and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and do 3, because that's 1.6 damage still. Or 1.6 K damage and still like 9,000 bleed. Over here on Axe Dagger, it's kind of a similar thing. You just kind of hit everything as far as I'm aware, but you need to be careful with Dagger 4 because it does move you. So like I was over here and then it moved me over there, and that has been a bad time for me on Bone Skinner, because we specifically need to be moving to the left and it moves me back into the right. So be aware of that when you're using that one. I got a whisper from Nevo to make sure that I mentioned Blood Moon. Yes, thank you, Nebu. That is the trait that applies bleed on foes that are immobilized or disabled. So that's where that comes from on Druid, and why you don't see the same kind of build setup for Condi Soul Beast. Let me think here. I went over most of the weapons that are commonly... I guess I didn't talk about Staff or Warhorn. and those are Healy things. So let me swap to my Druid build. So I talked about those, and I talked about those. Oh yeah, the Axe 4 is a pull, which is really nice to have. I still haven't tried Mace, but I hear it's amazing. We're not going to bother talking about underwater skills. Okay, so these are the last couple weapons we'll go over then. Warhorn, my beloved, is fantastic. It's great on large enemies because you get gigantic birds that land on them with Warhorn 4. There's no reason that you need to use Warhorn 4 for a healer unless for some reason you need Invuln, but it's still super fun. I don't know. Actually, doesn't Alex still use the Warhorn build? When?
Yeah, I think it's really good for ramping up might and like putting on a bunch of damage really fast.
Yeah, so Warhorn can also be used in your Power Soul Beast build. So, like,
Yeah.
the Power Soul Beast just has such flexibility with weapons. It's really nice. And Warhorn 5 is going to be... It's not only a hard CC, but you give a shit ton of boons when you do that. So that's going to be a regular part of your Druid rotation. Now, what I expect is that we're probably going to see Axe replaced by Mace, and we're going to see Mace, Warhorn, and then Staff. Noemi makes a good point here. In World v World, Condi Druid takes Staff because Ancestral Grace is such a good bailout tool. It's hard to pass up. I agree, yeah. I have actually tried out power-based World v World builds with Staff that are kind of fun. It's been cool to have Staff made available for more than just Druid. Yeah, so what's pretty great is you've got Ancestral Grace here, which does healing. It also applies protection where you land. And you get nice zoom over to the other side of the arena wherever you need to go. What fucking sucks about it is it's not an evade. ArenaNet originally made it an evade, and then they fucking took it away. And it looks like an evade. It acts like an evade, but it's not an evade. And it's, you know, I'm not salty about it.
It's just randomly taking evades away from classes.
Yeah. Some of the other cool parts about Staff. So first of all, it's passive healing. So if you're shooting at an enemy, let me get an enemy up there, respawn. Then it will heal my allies as I damage the enemy. I think, is it that one? I gotta like angle it right. It might not be doing anything because you are not down any health. Hold on.
Hi there. Use
Adjust
the console to begin
environment.
combat testing. If you have any inquiries,
Mildly
come
threatening,
speak
I
to
guess.
me.
Probably should put it on more than mildly threatening. Okay.
Oh,
See, so
what's happening?
Jess is getting some healing while I'm also...
Is it because it's passing through the beam or just an AoE thing though? It might be because she's in the beam.
Yes.
Oh no, it's AoE. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's a certain amount... So if I go over here, you know, it's not close enough, but if I'm right next to her, you know, it's probably like a person-sized
Yeah, I think
AoE.
it's more like when I'm in the beam there.
Yeah.
If you directly target her, I think it does better healing to that person too, right? Or no? I can't
Exactly.
remember.
Actually, it looks like it does about the same as doing 140 on her still when I directly target. But your 2 when you directly target an ally, that's a little different. So go ahead and take some damage again. So I'm gonna be doing. I hit it 2. It went through her and it's circling around the enemy. Did you see that for a second there? So I'm gonna target Jess here. Here goes out that little thing, and it does a little circle around her. Does another little
Oh,
circle.
I'm
and then it's
getting a
gone.
lot more.
So that
healing there.
will do. It does 4 pulses. It will circle the target, healing nearby allies. So if you target a specific ally, then it'll circle all around them. If you target the enemy, it'll circle around the enemy. That's something that they added with one of the recent revamps of Staff, and is really nice. You also have making a lot of water fields and blast fields is great on Druid. So one of the typical ones that you'll always have as long as you've got Staff is Staff 5, and then you Staff 3 into it, and it does an area healing, because Staff 5 creates a water field, and Staff 3 is a blast. So that is one that I regularly use when I'm comboing things. Toggle pulsing damage off. There we go. Smelly cat, come back.
I chose you.
There we go. Healing Spring combined with Warhorn 5 can be fun. You get 2 bursts on it, although maybe I timed it wrong that time.
Pet
I may have
swap
gone too
too.
quickly.
Yeah.
The pet swap too.
Oh, Pet Swap does a burst as well.
Yeah, Clarion Bond, if you have it traded.
Oh, okay. Healing Spring usually isn't like, I really like Healing Spring, but when you need to do like burst heals, something like Glyph of Rejuvenation is better. Specifically when you want to go into CA, because it does like 7,000 healing on your allies when you do it.
Question: is this math accounting for Relic of Caracosa or no?
To be fair, it's not, because I don't even have that yet. So from my personal experience, it's not accounting for that.
Caracosa's so good though.
Yeah, I need to
I
get
hope
it.
they don't put it down. It's so fucking nice.
Yeah. Honestly, taking Water Spirit is also a perfectly fine option. The Vigor generation is nice, but you're also generating Vigor with... I swore you did it on Warhorn 5, but I guess not.
5 is a blast finisher.
Yeah. I thought that it also gave... I guess it just gives Swiftness. No, there it is.
Yeah, they give Quick Might and blast finisher.
Yeah, I'm talking about Vigor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
So, yeah, I swore it used to give Vigor, but maybe not. I'm getting confused with that. However, your Beast skill, which is going to be your F2, even though it doesn't update it on the tooltip, because of Invigorating Bond, it will give, 3,500 healing, as well as giving protection and vigor to allies around you. So regularly using your F2 is definitely good to do for some additional support to the squad. Speaking of F2s and pets, White Tiger is probably the most supporty pet in the sense that it is the only way that you can provide any Aegis whatsoever. I usually take a CC pet as well of some kind. I mean, realistically, the pet that you take is going to be dependent on what your squad needs in the encounter. So, to briefly kind of go over some options here, I mean, you've got Rock Gazelle, Electric Wyvern, and Iboga. All have good CC on them that are probably the most commonly ones that I see used for CC. Iboga is also just kind of like used it at least prior to, I can't remember if it's after the rework or also prior to the rework, but Iboga was like the top DPS pet in general. Now, well, let's see what else is in here. I love the Fernhound, except for it's just the regen and healing is so low. It's kind of, I've always been told it's not worth bringing. Bristleback is one that I've seen used for Condi Soul Beast. And let me get into Soul Beast pets here now, actually. So you see I've got, which actually now I believe the primary is Carrion Devourer.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I want my Smelly Cat, so I don't know if I will do that, but
I chose you.
let's see what it merges into. So you get a knockback, a tunneling retreat. That doesn't seem very exciting. I guess it's like damage modifiers must be better than the cat somehow. But Bristleback was also used for Condi Soul Beast for a while. You would hop into it, precast Sharpened Spines, hop out, swap back onto Lynx, and then merge and start combat. Little overly complicated. You usually would just stay on Lynx. Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised that Carrion Devourer is better because Lynx has like 10,000, almost 11,000 bleed from Maul, and then they both have the same primal cry. But yes, so that's kind of like Condi pets, and then for power pets,
I chose you.
again, I usually bring my alternate pet as something that can easily CC, so I can just like swap on that before we run into a fight if it's one that I know is going to need heavy CC. Red Moa was the primary pet for a long time until the recent pet rework, and now it is the Piggy, and the Piggy is who you want to be merged with.
Now P Soul Beast stands for Pig Soul Beast.
Yeah.
Question.
Uh-huh.
I thought the pig specifically needed the axe.
I don't think it matters. Pig just has better damage coefficients, and it also procs your tab uptime better. And also procs Rune of the Fireworks. I don't think Gazelle could do that. Pig can proc Rune of the Fireworks.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, if you need to with Brutal Charge.
20-second cooldown.
Yeah. So if you need to have, well, Fireworks, that's a rune. It is the relic, I mean.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Primary relic for power soul beast, meaning that you get a damage increase after you use a weapon skill having a recharge time of 20 seconds or more. Ideally, it'll last for 6 seconds. You want to be using a skill that with that amount of recharge on it or more every 6 seconds, so you have as much uptime as possible. So those skills are going to include your Hammer 5, your Frost Trap, Sikkim, One Wolf Pack, Worldly Impact.
Just weapon skills, or is it anything?
Oh, is it just weapon skills? I've definitely seen it pop off of Frost Trap before, I thought. Oh, it is
Maybe.
weapon skill. Maybe I'm just crazy then, because it does happen around a similar time, as far as like the timing of those skills. Okay, so anyways, you're looking at, Hammer 5, your F3 and F2, Axe 5. Those are your main ones. Granted, Brutal Charge is not part of your rotation, but it's not hard to fit it in. It's only a 3/4 of a second cast. Sometimes you, like, when I'm in my rotation, like, I don't have things lined up so perfectly that I'm immediately, like, ready for my next skill, so... Okay, then I'm crazy about Frost Trap, no worries. So anyways, you can usually fit it in there pretty quickly.
I'm all ears.
Talked about weapons, talked about pets.
Come here.
Okay.
Maybe flanking, because I took it out of the game. It's still relevant on a few bosses.
It should only be relevant on bosses that are not defiant, like, or not capable of being defiant. Then you want to make sure that you're flanking, which I don't even know how many bosses that is.
I can't remember who said it or where I heard it, but I feel like Snowcrows or someone from Snowcrows was like in the process of compiling a list to more clearly identify like what is meant by that.
Yeah.
I just think that document's not out yet.
Okay.
Because it is a little confusing. Like,
Noemi, I did mean to respond to what you were saying earlier. Noemi mentioned that jungle stalker is sometimes used for might. Yeah, I do occasionally see that, not super often, because usually Druid's able to provide enough might. Plus, other classes give might now too, but occasionally there might be some groups where just the way the comp is, that might struggles a little bit, and yeah, jungle stalker can be great for that. Smoke scale also does a smoke field, so that can be good for if you need to
usually
do any
speedrun strats
blinds.
and stuff.
Yeah. I believe it can be used on like Adina for the hands. It's kind of nice. All the basics of that. Ooh, I love the versatile pets for open world because let me swap
The ones that
one.
help.
Yeah. It's really fun. So I would use the juvenile cheetah, and this is the skill that you get is Prelude Leash, which does a pull in an area around you. So it's like, I think the only pull ranger has that's like multi-target in an area around you that sucks them into your hitbox, basically. And it's just so nice when you're out dealing with mobs.
Prelude X5 Goober.
Yeah. Let me put that over there. So to kind of go over, I mean, that's sort of some of the basics as far as pets go and weapons. To make a quick mention of the versatile pet type that I was talking about there. In the Soul Beast spec, each of the pets is associated with either being like supportive, stout, ferocious, versatile, or deadly. Deadly means that it's a Condi preferred pet. It will increase like as far as coefficients and stuff goes, but also because of the skill, it will give you in this case, the pet that I have here is a stout beast. So merging with it grants you toughness and vitality, and you always get this unflinching fortitude skill, which is really great for, say, if you're kiting on Deimos, or excuse me, hand kiting on Deimos, you can use that to invuln the Mind Crutch. So all of them have their own specialized skill. Supportive.
What did you say deadly was again?
Deadly is for Condi.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
so you'll always get the Primal Cry option there, which applies a bunch of poison and bleeding. It'll also increase your condition damage and precision. The ferocious ones are for power based builds. That one will increase your power and ferocity and give you that worldly impact, which does 1.5k damage. Let's see. Yeah, and supportive, I think it increases like healing power and
It's also just a chunky heal.
yeah, it's nice big like I'm not even on a heal build right now. It gives like 4,000 healing. And it
I like it
increases
for open world.
healing percentage to others. That's neat.
Yeah, I use it for open world. Like, I'll usually have like Fernhound that I'll merge with,
Oh,
and then
love
I'll
Fernhound.
swap between. Like, I think they changed it, but I used to use the Crichton Drakehound because it had like an enormous lunge, it had a knockdown, and it had the worldly impact, so that was good for like when I wanted to damage. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm getting my ass handed to me. I would unmerge, swap to Fernhound, F2 for the regen howl, merge, do the F3 for the big chunky heal, limp away.
Yeah, right. Something cool about Soul Beast 2 that they added in a while back is the option Eternal Bond. They reworked it so that you can actually swap which pet you are currently merged with. That previously was not something you could do without first unmerging, then swapping your pet, and then re-merging. So
Yeah, but too much time to really be worth it in most cases.
so it ends up
That
being
also heals you.
yeah, a very small amount. But yeah, so that can be handy if, like, for example, hand kite on Deimos, I think that build usually uses Eternal Bond. But it can be handy out in open world if you want to have options to swap around to. Otherwise, the last three traits in the Soul Beast line, most of the time you're going to take Oppressive Superiority when you're looking just for maximizing your DPS. It just increases the DPS that you give by like 10%. When the health is at a lower health percentage than you. Leader of the Pack, though, is a big-time PMA skill. Leader of the Pack is so cool. One of the reasons why Soul Beast is my favorite is because of all of the stances that it has. They're just really neat.
They're
So,
good. They're
first
so
of all,
good.
yeah, seriously, there's bear stance. So right now I have Leader of the Pack on. What that means is that I actually don't know if I already literally just said this or not. You share your stances with allies around you. So, for example, Bear Stance, which is personally my favorite heal in the game, you'll see that the Snow Crow's builds usually always suggest using We Heal as one, which technically, yes, you get more boons from that, but like...
Uptime is already shoddy.
Yeah. So, Bear Stance, though, it will cleanse conditions from you, like 2 conditions per second, and give you healing based off of the conditions removed on top of the base healing that it gives. So not only is this fantastic in open world, but it's also really great on, say, like, if I'm on Slothazor or something like that, like, fuck yes, I'm going to be taking Bear Stance, because you're going to be getting so many Condis. Like, your poor healer.
Bear Stance, beloved.
Yes. Plus they have really fun animations, like the bear makes a roar sound. Dahlia Stance is great. It's a
I
stun
I've
break.
never used it, but I love the animation for Griffin Stance. You do, I don't know how it is on Norn, but on Soul Beast you do like this, I don't even know how to describe it, like a sort of little dancing spin.
Yeah, I've never looked at that before.
Yeah, because you never use it because it's kind of not great, but the
Yeah, it's
animation
not.
is so fun.
The only thing about it, you get more
It's like-
endurance
it's like-
regeneration
Yeah, so it's really not,
and a little bit of
even
super speed.
defensively, it's like,
That's a really
but the
cool
animation is so
though.
good.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that animation one more time. Then. Yeah, you spin around. That's really dope.
Yeah, like some kickbox shit.
Dahlia Stance is super fun because, like, so you can just give 6x of stability to your entire sub squad. Like, who the fuck needs a heal brand? You can just do that. It's so nice.
Love Dahlia.
Plus, you
It's really good on Dragon Storm because you can just spam that shit.
oh yeah. Plus, like, it gives a 33% damage reduction as well while you have it up. I fucking love this skill in PvP. It is my absolute best friend in PvP. Let's see, Moa Stance, really cool for if you, well, open world. Like, if I'm in open world on Soul Beast, I'm taking Bear Stance, Dahlia Stance, and Moa Stance a lot of the time.
I like Moa Stance and Quickening Zephyr. It's so good for if you're trying to get a bunch of like harvesting nodes. Just Moa Stance, Quickening Zephyr, Worldly Impact, and you have so much quickness for like ever.
That's a good idea. Maybe I
And-
can start gathering.
And if you do,
Ooh.
yeah, do
lot
Moa
of that.
Stance. Yeah, do Moa Stance, Quickening Zephyr, Worldly Impact, and We Heal as one, and you literally like cap out your quickness just in a few seconds. It's great.
So to explain a little bit of what happens, like why that like works so well. Moa Stance is going to increase the duration of boons that you are granted while you are in that stance.
That
So
you apply.
that you apply. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
While you're in that stance. So what'll happen is it's gonna last for 12 seconds. For that full 12 seconds, any boons you give yourself will have an additional duration of like 66% of their original duration, which is pretty
great.
cool. So We Heal as one will give you a bunch of boons, especially because it like copies between you and your pet, so it extends durations. And then you get quickness from Worldly Impact, so that's why Wind was mentioning doing that, as well as Quickening Zephyr for having really high like quickness uptime. The last one is Vulture Stance. That's used on the Condi Soul Beast build. Caw, motherfucker. Yeah, you just like... it does poison. It's not very fancy. It does poison and might. But, yeah.
It's alright.
So, let's see here. Let me get my skills swapped back with her. Okay, lastly is our Lord and Savior One Wolf Pack. One Wolf Pack is going to... it duplicates the attacks that you do while you are in that stance. This can be really fun with Lead the Pack because that means your allies also get it. For a long time, it attributed the additional damage that your allies did to you, the giver of One Wolf Pack, and that was super fun. What I really like about Soul Beast is... there's a lot of things I really like about Soul Beast. Okay, I keep saying that. But there's just so many things that I like about it, so it's really not like the one thing I really like about Soul Beast. Like, it has a very clear burst window because you're gonna be trying to line up your One Wolf Pack and your Sikkim together, along with Frost Trap, and then you do your set of burst skills on your weapon. Now, granted, One Wolf Pack is not going to be up every loop that you come around, so you're just going to use Sikkim. So, like, every loop you'll use Sikkim, and every other loop you will use One Wolf Pack. The actual burst itself, the arena damage is still on and everything.
Use the console to begin combat testing.
There we go.
If you have any inquiries, come speak to me.
Is you're always going to start with Frost Trap. You put it down, and then, I mean, I guess I usually kind of put it down.
So I asked the Snow Crows people because I was curious. They told me it actually makes like literally no difference if you Frost Trap One Wolf Pack or if you One Wolf Pack Frost Trap.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that order doesn't matter. It's the Sikkim order that matters a little bit.
Ooh, as far as before or after the Frost Trap?
Yeah, because you want to try to smash Sikkim like the instant Frost Trap first detonates, if that makes sense. Because if you cast Sikkim at the very beginning, you're wasting like 2-ish seconds while you cast Frost Trap and you cast one Wolfpack, but you're not doing any damage. So that's sort of the logic behind that.
So always do Sikkim.
That's why Sikkim
last
is
of
like
those.
third.
Okay.
Yeah, like third. I was kind of surprised though, because I thought that maybe you would want to always do Frost Trap and then one Wolfpack, so you're not wasting one Wolfpack uptime while you sit there casting Frost Trap. But they told me it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
They told me it doesn't matter, so I was like, okay. Because I noticed on the bench logs that they were doing it in that order, and I was like, wouldn't you want to not do that? And they were like, nah, it don't matter. So I was like, huh, okay.
So you'll do, one Wolfpack, Frost Trap, Sikkim, I don't have an enemy for it, and then you will F3. Bam, and you blast the Frost Trap when you do that. And it's nice, it does a little extra damage. Generally, your pattern on Hammer, because that's your first chunk of your burst there. You get your big DPS increasing skills out there of Sikkim and one Wolfpack. You do your one other util skill that you actually use, and then you smash it. Then you will do 3, 4, 2. And that's your burst on Hammer. That's also your opener right there. You do those and 3, 4, 2, swap. And then I'm gonna get into the rest of your burst in a minute.
So, wait, you want to do the utilities, then Worldly Impact, and then which hammer?
3, then 4, then 2. And that's your opener. During your burst phases when you're on Hammer, you usually won't do 3 right, actually I think you do technically do it right before.
I think it depends on what you want a little
Yeah.
bit. The way I've seen it, I've seen 4, 2, 3, and the reason being that you can do the first cast of 3, which will get you the Tav proc, and then instantly weapon swap, so you don't have to sit there for the second cast of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the use case is, probably just to burst as much as you can versus getting another CC, which is negligible once you already have Tav up and running.
Mm-hmm.
For the burst, anyway.
I'll get back more to the hammer loop in a minute, but for now, to finish out your burst, then you come into axe or sword. It doesn't really matter, either one. And you do 2, 4, 3, and then 5. And then you're done. That's your burst. So it's a very similar pattern. Honestly, it sounds like also... now, when you're in open world, this matters more than in instanced content because of the way CCing works. But you do want to make sure you do 3 before 4 and say like open world if you're wanting to max DPS, because 4 does increased damage to enemies that are disabled or defiant. So if you daze them first, that's going to disable them and it will increase your damage for Hammer 4. Otherwise, when instance PV and content, like I said, it doesn't highly matter. For a long time, before I decided I wanted to sort of modify that order to be a little more optimized, I did exactly the same thing with my fingers on Hammer as I was on Sword Axe. So I'd come in and I'd do 2, 4, 3 on Hammer, and I'd do 2, 4, 3 on Axe. So that's kind of a good way to get used to it. Huh?
Easy to remember that way.
Exactly, way easier to remember. Then, while you sit there, you'll do your Axe 5. Blah, 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 blah. And by the time your Axe 5 is done, your Sword 2 will be ready again, so you'll do that real quick. And then you'll do your pattern of your other pet skill. And this will... I'll show you this in a minute when I'll do the actual full rotation, because you'll see how the cooldowns will line up. And eventually you'll be like, oh yeah, well that's what I'm doing next, because that's the only thing that's available. So anyways, you do your Axe 5, and then you'll do 2 again, maybe a couple autos, and then you'll do your pet skill Maul, and then you'll do 4, 2, 3, or 4, 3, 2, doesn't matter. Basically, you do your other Axe skills again, and then you swap.
So, I thought that the Sikkim burst was supposed to be on Axe 5. It's not on Axe 5 anymore?
Axe 5 takes so long to cast that it is the last skill that you want to do in your burst, because it can take up so much time. You ultimately, if you prioritize Axe 5 in your burst over all of your other ones, you're going to end up losing damage because you're not able to fit as many skills in. But you are right that it used to be that you would do your One Wolf Pack and Sikkim and like pretty immediately do Axe 5 and prioritize that first. I think that's when either... I can't remember if they nerfed Axe 5.
I think they tweaked the damage of the other axe skills a little bit, and I believe
Yeah.
that's kind of led to the new logic being X5 being last.
Friendly raid squad is
Okay.
a happy raid squad.
So, on Hammer...
So I think if you do it fast enough, you can get every single hit underneath the umbrella of Sikkim. You just have to be really fucking fast.
Yeah. On Hammer, when you come in, again, you're going to be prioritizing skills 2 and 4. So you come in and you are immediately going to do 2, 4, and then you do a few auto attacks while you're waiting for 2 to be almost off cooldown, probably when it's about halfway off cooldown. So let me do 2, 4 again. 2, 4, auto. Granted, I don't have any alacrity right now. And then I hit 5 and 2. Let me put like boons on myself so this rotation will actually work.
If you're struggling to line that up, maybe try 4-2, because I think the bench is 4-2.
Was I saying 2-4? I was doing 4-2, but I was saying 2-4. Sorry.
Yeah, 4-2.
Yeah. So you'll do 4-2. Auto. And then right around now, you can start casting 5 because it has a little bit of a cast animation or cast time on it, 2. And then you'll do your 3. And then you go into your burst. And do that all over again. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate there. Okay, you were just going to start hitting immediately. Let's calm down there. So let me get this in there. Burst skills. Stomp it. I did 2, 4, 3 this time. Swap. 2, 4, 3, 5. Then I sit here for a while and hang out. Now 2 is coming off cooldown, so I hit it. Nothing's left, so now I'm going to do F1, right in time for 3 to be done, right in time for 4 to be done, right in time for 2 to be done, and I swap over. 4, 2, smash, 5, 2, do a couple autos, 3, and then we're ready for a burst again. And swap, boop, 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 and around. And you can just kind of rinse and repeat that. And the next time I come around, One Wolf Pack is going to be ready, and so I'll do it with that. And like you can see here, like I don't have things perfectly lined up, so I could have fit a Bull's Charge in there if I really wanted to. It looks like I think I canceled out Maul, or it has a shorter cast time than I remember. I usually... a general idea is you're going to have 1 to 2 auto chains that you will end up doing on Hammer. Right there, I canceled Axe 4. So, something that is bane of my fucking existence is I cancel Axe 4 all the time. Just be careful about your cast time on it. I don't know why it gets canceled so easily because it's a CC skill and should be prioritized, but it does. It happens a lot with Frost Trap 2. I frequently will end up canceling that. I've also canceled my Hammer 4 multiple times too. So I'm sure some of that can depend on quickness uptime in your sub, but that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to get your skills just pounded out as fast as possible. Is, once you're getting comfy with your rotation and you're really trying to churn things out, there will be skills that you learn that you can't just immediately queue and you need to wait to for them to cast. Like I'll end up going in here to do Axe or whatever, and I'll be... No, I wasn't supposed to do that, but anyways. So I come in here and I'm mashing 2, and then I mash 4, and then I mash 3. So for each skill, I'm probably mashing it an average of 3 times. But when I come to these ones that will cancel themselves, I'll mash them 5 times until their full cooldown comes off. And then I'm like, okay. Otherwise, yeah, it's good practice to, on average, mash an individual skill 2 to 3 times if you aren't already doing that in your rotations. That helps to make sure that things queue properly and aren't getting canceled.
Mm-hmm. Bro, and the punishment for failing Frost Trap, it's got such a long fail cooldown. Like, bro,
does.
come on.
And then I'm like,
It's
should I
like
just
what, 8
forget it
seconds?
this time?
It's so bad. Yeah, it's like 8 seconds. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah. So that's sort of like the basics on the Power Soul Beast rotation. Remove that current golem. I kind of already went over the Condi rotations that happen. They're very simple. Condi Soul Beast, just mash your shit. This is a pretty old build, and I haven't updated it in a long time. So I'm not even certain when exactly your burst is supposed to be. Other than that, I try to line up like my Viper's Nest and Vulture's Stance and pet skills with my one wolf pack, as well as trying to kind of like pound out a few weapon skills at least. On Condi Druid, you're going to have your usual blah, 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 blah in here where you're just hitting things off cooldown. But when you go into CA, your pattern is going to be F5. While you're F5ing, you're going to F2, and then you're going to F3, and then you're going to F2. What's great about... Why am I saying F2? These are normal skills. CA, you're doing CA5, followed by 2 while you're doing it. Because what's nice about 2 is that they revamped it or whatever to be an automatic cast. Thank you for the reminder to hydrate. Maggie turned around. She says, I don't want my public to see me anymore. I also stretched a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so what's great is that it's an instant cast, which allows you, because 5 is quite a bit of cast time. You can't move during it, which usually works out well since you get self-stab during it.
Yeah. Self-stab. Such a fucking tease.
Yeah, right. Specifically self-stab. It is super fucking nice sometimes, though.
Like, fuck no one except me.
Yeah. 3 also has a little bit of a cast time on it. Not a lot, but you might need to do, depending on how fast you're going, you could probably do 2, like, while it's happening. That's pretty much all you're going to do in CA on Condi Druid. When you're on Heal Druid, it's honestly not all that much different. I'm still on Condi Druid. Hold on.
Might makes me right.
Swap templates, please. Am I pressing the wrong button?
You Wakanda?
There we go. Usually when you come into CA on Heal Druid, you want to do 4, and then you can do 2s this whole time since they're immediate cast. But come in and I prioritize 4 comboing with 3 because that's another blast field that you're gonna get. It went away. 4 puts down a water field. 3 is a blast, so a little extra healing. Also does some Condi cleanse with it.
I like 5 for stacking might, but beyond that, it's so hard to use, especially if nobody else is sitting the fuck still.
Yes, yeah. Your sort of rotation when you're on Druid is mainly just going to be making sure you're going into CA and giving your Alack and other boons in there. Regularly going over here and hitting Warhorn 5 if your boons need it. And using all of your spirits off cooldown. Now, the thing, though, about Druid is that your utensils are really going to vary based off of what you need. Like, I don't take all these spirits for every boss. Like, Frost Spirit was revamped to do Condi Cleanse. So, if I need extra Condi Cleanse, I bring Frost Spirit. If I need extra CC, I maybe bring Storm Spirit. Or I could bring something else entirely different. You can use Search and Rescue if you need extra res support. Glyph of Tides is essential for, well, not essential, but very nice for Seekers on VG. Glyph of Equality, thank Joko, they revamped so that you actually give stability both in and out of CA. Very nice. Then you don't have to be trying to time your fucking CA with when you need to give stab.
Yeah, that was so terrible.
Yeah. Plus, it also, while you are not in CA, does a daze, so you get a little extra in there.
Mm-hmm.
Glyph of Stars is fantastic, and I love the rework that they did to it. Not only does it give stability both in and out of CA and remove conditions, but if you cast it while you're in CA, it does 12% revive per pulse. It's honestly like, it is just not even worth taking Spirit of Nature anymore, which has been like the king of reviving multiple at one time for very long. But now Glyph of Stars is just so much better, especially because it prevents health drained while downed.
So good.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it has a quicker cast time too. Yeah, it absolutely does. Where Spirit of Nature it takes so long.
Yeah, if it was instant, I might consider it potentially better, but like it's so slow.
I'm also extremely sad that they took stability off of Spirit of Nature because, unlike Druid, Heal Untamed does not have access to glyphs. So, Spirit of Nature is usually what you want to take for your elite there. It can convert conditions into boons and can revive up to 5 allies, but I mean, that's casting and then he has to stomp. It's actually a bit of time. It just would be so nice if it gave stab like it used to.
I miss old Fervent Force Untamed. That shit was so fun.
Me too.
Like, I'm not taking away your APM. Why? I liked to monkey press the buttons. It was so good.
Yeah, I don't understand why they took it away. It's not like it was an overpowered build. And
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just fun. It was like stupid fast, but it was fun.
And it still had like a decent amount of people like interested in it.
Rip.
Yeah.
Getting healthier.
So yeah, I think I went over kind of like Druid skills there and anything similar to a rotation. On Heal Untamed, which is a little more of a meme build just because it's not, like, Untamed is not meant to be a support class necessarily. It has, like, self-support. I'll get into that when I touch on Untamed next because I think it's the only thing I have left. But Heal Untamed, the reason why it's good is because it can use Druid Staff. Your might upkeep might be a little sketchy on Heal Untamed, which is why it's nice to have other classes in your sub-squad that also give might, but otherwise you're going to be using Sun Spirit to provide it and blasting flame traps. You can also bring
Getting healthier.
the Jungle Stalker pet. But what's really fun about the Heal Untamed rotation is you just ambush staff all the time. And it's great.
Visual constantly.
Yeah. So usually what I do is, so here's the ambush, boop, and then you have the trait where when you swap weapons, oh, maybe I have to be in combat for it to happen. Hold on. Let me put somebody out there. Okay, reset my cooldowns. I'm gonna come out here and pretty much on Untamed, whether you're doing a DPS build or a heal build, when your pet is unleashed, you can just, actually am I on, yes, pet is unleashed. You just get to do a nice keyboard roll of F1, 2, 3, just bloop, just like that. They're all instant cast, and it's very nice. So I go like this, I do one blast, I swap weapons, I do the other blast, and then I just sit here and I wait for my weapon swap to come off cooldown. I kind of do some random stuff, it's almost off cooldown, okay, now I go over here, blurp, blast, blast. That's what you're doing the whole time. It's so much fun. It's so dumb, and I love it. I'm gonna get. It'll be interesting to see how that build changes when Mace is out because I don't know how reliant it is on having 2 staff ambushes in a row, but it does like shit out protection. Like you give a lot of protect because of your staff ambush skill. And you're just doing it a lot. So you don't even need to bring Stone Spirit usually. The I think
Did the maces give protector?
I'm not sure. I don't know them off the top of my head. Actually, we can look, huh?
Because if they do, then that might make one of those staff ambushes redundant, which could be good.
Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, yes, Mace 3 does protection. Yeah. So probably we'll be able to. And the rest of, like, all the rest, the Mace autos are, like, going off the screen. I can't even fucking read them. So. My favorite feature of Untamed, other than the staff ambush on Heal Untamed, is boon stripping I love boon stripping. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a fight and I'm just staring at boons sitting on an enemy bar, feeling sad. What's great is not only is your staff ambush that you are doing on a regular basis, removing 2 boons at a time, but your pet skills, the second one you hit in the roll across the keyboard, also removes 3 boons. So it's very nice. Really great for fractals. Really great for, I don't know, anywhere you're going to have a bunch of boons. The thing that's also really nice about your pet F skills. Is it this one? It's this one. Your F3. It makes a fart cloud, as everyone colloquially calls it, and that is a projectile destruct. So,
We love the fart cloud.
huh?
I said we love the fart cloud.
Yeah. So,
Unless you're a leader, then he fucking hates it.
yeah. So that can be really nice. So it's got boon strips in its kit. It's got projectile destruct in its kit. It's nice. I really love Untamed. Speaking of Untamed, so I am not really well versed in the current Power Untamed build as far as how much it's changed, especially because I grinded Power Soul Beast a lot for the last few months, and their rotations are really fucking similar because they use the same weapons, and so now my brain is confused about what the rotation is. However, you've essentially got 2 different traps here. You not only have Frost Trap, but you also have Exploding Spores. And Exploding Spores is important to
Defense,
place
then offense.
fully into the boss's hitbox as much as possible, because, you know, like if I put it over here,
Sick?
you can see how they go in a circle around me. So if I put them just right here, only 2 of those spores are actually hitting the enemy. Whereas if I put them right in his hitbox, he gets hit by all of them. So you need to be aware of your spore placement in that respect. It's also important to be using We Heal as one as a part of your rotation on Untamed, so that your pet is getting the same amount of boons that you are. Unlike Soul Beast, you're not merged with your pet, so you need to give your pet boons. The rotation on Axe is virtually the same. The difference is that you aren't going to have to deal with pet skills. So, like, I have all of my tiger skills set to auto attack, with the exception of the ones that are while I'm in Untamed form, because those are just so, or while the pet is Untamed, because like I said, you just roll across the keyboard and it's really easy, so I don't even care. But you'll do the same kind of thing where you do 2, 4, 3 when you first come in. See, I canceled 4 again. And then 5, come over here and do, you'll probably still be waiting for 4 at that point, but do another 2. And then what you want to do is, so actually that whole time I should have been showing you while I was in this mode. You'll briefly swap into Pet Untamed, roll it, so then swap back out of it just to get your Untamed skill on Sword really quick. And then, you know, do whatever extra skills you have and then swap over. Like I said, I don't really know the exact, like, amount of times that you were supposed to do each skill prior to swapping. But generally, for most... Let me remove this so it's not distracting me anymore. Generally, for most power-based builds, your Path of Scars, your Axe 4, is going to be bookending your Sword Axe or Axe rotation. You're always going to pretty much start with it or have it be one of your starting skills, and then you're gonna end with it. You'll probably do 2 and 3 more than once, but you're only going to do 4 a total of twice, and you're only going to do 5 once. And that's just because of cooldown times. It's just how it works out. Now, when you're on Hammer, You do want to do the same thing where at some point during your rotation you have a moment where you swap into Pet Untamed, roll the keyboard and swap back, and then do a helicopter move there. I love that. I love the Hammer Untamed or Unleashed skill. It's really fun. Now, I would need to check, though, the rotation again to remember which hammer skills it wants you to do in which mode. I think you still do 4 and 2 in Ranger Untamed, and then you do 5 and 3 in Pet Untamed. But, like, don't take my word for that. I haven't checked it in a long enough time. So that's sort of some general Untamed things as far as that goes. The hammer skills in general are kind of interesting because, like, so your Hammer 2 deals increased strike damage to disabled or defiant enemies by like 20%. Plus, your Hammer 4 does as well.
It rewards you for CCing, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really nice. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I mentioned about. Okay, so that's why I was thinking about Hammers 5 and 3 together in Pet Unleashed. Those are both CCs when your pet is unleashed. Your Hammer 5 and your Hammer 3. So it's good to keep those in mind. Obviously, your pet F2 is also going to be a hard CC. Plus, on top of that, so is your Exploding Spores. So you have a good chunk of CC here on...
Does Exploding Spores only go to CC if you hit with all of them? I think that's how it works, right?
If... Oh, yeah. It'll
Like,
only knock down if they're hit by all spores.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's
So that's probably pricey on, like, bosses where you can't go in the hitbox, like, if you're fighting on Adina or maybe Q1.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly don't know if there's a better skill to swap it out for. I mean, at that point, it might be better to get some hits better than none, because I really don't think that there's another skill that's a great option. I mean, I guess you could use Sikkim, but this doesn't have as much of a defined burst window as, like, Soul Beast does, so I'm not entirely sure where you'd even try to put Sikkim in there.
Nothing.
I wouldn't be surprised if the prevailing advice there would just be don't bring it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, don't bring that class.
The last Ranger build that I have in my kit is Condi Quick Untamed, and I believe there's also a Power Quick Untamed variant out there too, and I don't know that one. Condi Quick Untamed is pretty easy to pick up because, like the other Ranger Condi builds, you just kind of do your Condis off cooldown. You just kind of, you know, like bloop, and then you do your weapon skills while you're waiting. It also is like Heal Untamed in the sense that you're going to do the same pattern where you go in here and I roll my pet skills, and then I do... Oh, okay, I have to have a fucking enemy targeted for this one. Okay. So go in here, and I roll my pet skills, and then I blast it, and then I blast again. And then you go in here and you do, you know, whatever. There we go. I'm already... Even We Heal is one. And now I'm ready to swap again. So, bloop. And like that. What was the thing that I just thought of that I was going to mention? Oh yeah, this skill, your Pet F3, is probably not going to be ready every time you go into Pet Untamed because it has a longer cooldown. It's twice as long as the other two. What is pretty neat about the Condi Quick Untamed, like the Dagger Unleashed, is that it's a teleport to the boss, which is both really cool and also very dangerous. The downside about it too is that you literally cannot get, like, the game will not allow you to cast it if you don't have an enemy targeted. So it's one of the many quickness builds that for some godforsaken reason is dependent on you having an enemy there. And I hate it. Because,
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, just like Quick Deadeye is, you have to have a non-construct target to be able to
It's
get
like
quickness.
fucking Elect Druid can't do its job unless people are, like, eating shit and you're having to heal them. Like,
Yep.
That's so frustrating for me. Like when I play Elect Druid in our static, because everyone's generally pretty good about not base tanking damage, I'm like, I'd love to give y'all a lot. I'd fucking love to, but
It's probably why it's better for, like, especially as the higher performing the group gets, why it's better for solo healing, because then they're able to get so much more access to CA.
yeah, I can see that.
Um,
It's also got really good carry potential, though. It's like it's definitely good for training groups and stuff. Just because like the ass saving potential of Druid is still very much unmatched, even after the rework.
yeah.
Like it just ships out so much healing.
So let's see.
Does Untamed heal decently? The heal variant, that is.
Sorry, I missed what you. I got distracted for a second. What was that?
Does Untamed heal decently?
Yeah, actually. So on your staff ambush skill, you do like almost 3,000 healing every time, and that's just
pretty
burst
good.
healing. Yeah. So that means that actually you're doing a burst healing of 6,000 damage, like every 8 seconds for a weapon swap. So that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I bring Healing Spring on that. You could bring Water Spirit, I guess. Perilous Gift is interesting for if you are in open world on an Untamed. That one's kind of fun to have. I guess, I didn't talk about open world Untamed at all. Oh, thank you for the follow, Synchrist. I don't know if I said your name right, but I hope that was close. Where is the one I'm looking for? Unnatural Traversal, which is a teleport to the enemy, and it also gives you some regen if your pet is unleashed, and it will reduce the recharge if you do successfully teleport. It's just really nice for open world when you're like wanting to blip over to the next enemy you want to attack and like move quickly through an area. The other skills I didn't really end up doing anything with. Nature's Binding is kind of interesting, but not. I didn't really find that many use cases for it. Similarly with mutate conditions. I didn't have a super hard time with needing to do that. Perilous Gift is what I ended up running around with, but you could also bring other heal skills that can Condi cleanse you. The Elite, though, is pretty fun. I really like the Elite for running around in open world. It can give you, 10 stacks and 20 seconds of stability, plus 20 seconds of resistance, and 20 seconds of resolution. And it reduces the incoming damage by 50% for 10 seconds.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Plus striking an enemy while you're in the forest fortification stance reduces the recharge of forest fortification. So
That you guys so well with Garage or X5, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just real cozy for when you're out in open world. Honestly, I've even where's my Power Untamed build? Yeah, I have it on my Power Untamed build because why not? It just, you've got some extra survivability and stab if for some reason you're away from your healer in or your healer's overburdened or something. Think here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I went over most of the general things. Of course I didn't page through all of the different possible things you can take. I guess I could briefly mention. So I mentioned Blood Moon. Grace of the Land is the main one you're going to take for Alack. I do have a Condi Alack Druid DPS build, but it is just not. It's not comfortable. I end up not having enough CA most of the time.
Condi Alack Druid?
DPS, yeah.
Oh.
So Alack DPS Druid, it's just not great.
Buff time is really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Eclipse is going to be your main skill, or excuse me, your main trait if you're going to be doing a Condi-based build. And yeah, exactly. Noemi makes mention in chat. Too many competing traits, unfortunately. Exactly. So already you're disadvantaged trying to make a Condi Alack DPS Druid build because you have to take
Defense,
Grace of the
then
Land
offense.
to grant Alacrity, but Eclipse is like that's how you do Condi damage as,
Fury is
as a
mine.
druid. So it just sucks. There's some other fun things that are in druid, like Celestial Shadow, which gives you super speed and stealth, you and your allies, when you come out of CA. That one can be a fun one to have.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah. Verdant Etching is really great. It's glyphs grant protection. Natural balance is what you're going to want to do if you are on a DPS based build. So pretty much all your selection, if you're on a DPS druid, are going to be all on the bottom. And then lastly, I guess the untamed traits. See if I can remember
Might
what all of
makes
these
me
are.
right.
Well, that's kind of fun. Cantrips grant a barrier around you and your pet when you use them. Wait, specifically Venomous Outburst is, I think, yeah, that's a pet skill. So what it does is it increases the damage that it does. So yeah, if you want damage, like, you're gonna take that option. I believe this middle option. Yeah, this middle option you can kind of choose whatever you want. I would say none of these are necessarily something you have to have for your DPS. Taking Rending Vines, Corrupting Vines can be nice
Fury is
for
mine.
additional boon ripping, I believe. I don't know why it's like highlighting it like, ooh, because it converts them to conditions instead of just
Might
ripping them.
makes me right.
And then in your last set here, what is that? Vow the Untamed. Oh yeah, so when you're unleashed, you do more damage. And then your incoming damage is decreased when your pet is unleashed. So top one is going to be if you're going to need quickness at all, this top trait in the third column. The middle one here, Restorative Strikes, when you or your pet unleashed, gain protection and convert a percentage of strike damage into healing for short duration. That's pretty cool for a survivability one. Maybe when you're out running an open world, or maybe even a PvP or something like that. But most of the time when you are doing a DPS-based build, you're going to be using Ferocious Symbiosis, which was the replacement for Fervent Force RIP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Ferocious Symbiosis, you and your pet gain 5% damage increase and 5% movement speed increase. You can gain stacks of it of up to 5 stacks, so that's quite an increase. You get it by just striking enemies, literally. That's all you have to do. When it triggers, it refreshes the duration of all stacks. So as long as you're hitting the enemy, you're going to have good uptime on that. You'll be good to go. There we go. That's my power build, so you can see how that one's over there. Believe that is all. Yep, that's all 3 of the specs that I've now pretty much combed through their different skills. Most of the different
Fury
weapons.
is mine.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't think so. I'm just trying to figure out my one soul beast.
Are you prioritizing? Yeah, some power soul beast.
Yeah. And I have this dagger main hand
Mm-hmm.
axe, and then my other one I have an axe with a torch.
Ooh,
That sounds
Condi
cool.
build.
Yeah.
Nice.
Defense, then
So that
offense.
one, for the most part, like I said, I would need to look at the actual rotation, like the actual recommended rotation on Snow Crows. But as far as I'm aware, like, it's pretty flexible. I would say the main thing would be finding out when exactly the recommended burst is on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Let me... No, I don't want to open the image in the new tab. I want to open the build in a new tab. There we go. Let me take a look at this real quick.
I got this build from Hardstuck.
Okay.
I don't know anything about Snow Crows. I've never gone there before. I'm pretty noob to gaming.
A deadly raid squad is a
That's
top
fine. I'm
Oh, yeah,
pretty
that's
new
fine.
too.
skills using state-of-the-art guns.
I've tricked people into thinking I'm better than I am.
I made it through like 2 years of ESO on like light attacks. My husband laughed at me.
Getting healthier.
Okay, I'm taking a look here at what they're doing for their burst. That's just literally everything. Okay, let me scoot to when they're doing their next burst.
That's pretty on brand for Soul Beast, though. Like, even a Condi version, like, really, the prevailing wisdom for Soul Beast is just do your damage modifiers and then fucking press everything as fast as you goddamn can. Like,
Wow. Okay, so interesting. So this bench is from 2 months ago. It's using dagger and short bow. So it's not even necessarily updated since the most recent like thing that changed.
probably still valid, though.
Yeah, still valid. They are just using one wolf pack off cooldown. So like I just watched them do a burst where most of their stuff was still on
Defense, then
cooldown
offense.
and they one wolf packed anyway. I think it's because of the nature of how condis work. That's my guess. Since they're over time. So it's realistically a pretty flexible build in that respect. Let's see, if you're doing that build, do I have the... Can you link your build in
Fury is
chat? I'm
mine.
curious what...
How do I do that?
So open your hero panel and then go to the build tab
Okay.
and then shift click on like the tab number.
Like over on the left.
So the tabs are up along the top, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
6, 7,
yeah,
8.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
Okay,
those,
I see.
those tabs. Just
Okay.
shift click on. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna see. Okay. So they're having you.
Getting healthier.
And I actually had changed that Doliac stance. I think I was originally doing a MOA. I think I was doing a MOA stance.
I would think Condi would take Vulture, right?
Yeah,
Or it was Vulture. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
it's that one.
you'd want to do
I
Vulture
can do
there.
that.
Wombo.
Okay.
Wombo.
Yeah. Honed axes, yeah, because you're bringing axes, so that makes sense. And then those are kind of the only options for that anyway. So what am I taking here? Okay, so as far as the Beast Mastery line goes, I mean that's definitely nice for if you're wanting, like, especially if you're just doing this in open world. Like, I'd say just keep the Beast Mastery line so you have that the movement boost because that makes it worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're looking to
'Cause
maximize,
if not, I am slow.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever want to like briefly swap that out to maximize DPS or something like that, I would say swap it with Wilderness Survival.
Okay.
And then you'll take like 1, or what is it? I guess that's 3, 1, 3. So it's Taste for Danger, Ambidextry, and Poison Master.
Okay.
And that one, I would even say I can't say this for sure, but I think you might get more damage potential out of the Wilderness Survival options than out of Skirmishing, Condi-wise.
Okay. Okay.
So I would maybe replace Skirmishing with Wilderness
with-
Survival. And then,
Okay.
Let me actually link so that way.
Yeah, so I got Wilderness, Beast Mastery, and then my Soul Beast at the bottom.
Yeah. And then you can
Okay.
just swap out Beast Mastery for Marksmanship what did I say? Yeah, Marksmanship. When you
Oh,
wanna
yeah,
have more.
yeah, I had something else on there.
What was it?
Skirmishing.
Beast Mastery. God, what am I getting confused by? How am I confusing myself? 1 second. Yeah, okay. The Skirmishing, you
Okay.
swap it out for Wilderness Survival.
Wilderness.
Right now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And when you go
So-
into situations where you want to do more DPS, you would swap Beast Mastery for Skirmishing.
Getting healthier.
Okay.
Yeah. So you basically bring Skirmishing back in and remove the one that gives you more speedy if you're wanting to max DPS. But otherwise, when you're running around on your own, you might as well be faster because it's better. It's less painful to run around anyway. And then, yeah, of course, taking Viper's stance. I don't know how much of a damage increase it is to take Sikkim versus Viper's Nest. You could play around with that yourself if you want.
Okay. Okay.
Defense, then offense.
I don't know if that also kind of depends, because Viper's Nest, from what I remember, is just kind of an iffy Condi skill anyway. It's one of those utils where like you could swap it out for something else kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the recommended swap out one. Sort of like how Frost Trap is for Power Soul Beast.
Mm-hmm.
If you must take something different.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just updated my build now.
Cool.
So we'll see how this goes.
I think what I might try to do, and here's the thing, I've been trying to recruit people who are like, people like Zargle who are insanely familiar with these classes, because we get to learn lots of cute little things. No worries, Tracy. I'm more out of it tonight than I would like to be. I am amazed that I managed to put together anything like cohesive at all. So I would like to see if I can find someone to give us some more swear tips about Druid. Or not, well, I mean, sure, Druid, but in particular Untamed being one of the, probably the least used Ranger spec. But for now, I haven't had anyone particularly jump on that. I know Zargle maintains the Condi Druid build, so if we do another one that's maybe specializing on Druid, and he's able to make it, he could give us some info on that. Otherwise, yeah, just, I guess, let me know if you have interest in specific classes or concentrations on certain specs, not just classes.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Ranger Go Burger!
Yeah. Ranger power. Fucking, I just love Ranger so much.
But not Reaper. 3 in class.
Yeah. What's funny is, like, I do really like Necromancer as well, so I guess just green class works for me because I love them both. Longbow can be really nice too in World v World. I didn't make mention of that.
I run Longbow World so good.
I've run my exact same build as I do for raids, except with a longbow, and I'm fine most of the time.
It's so fun to blow people up at range.
It is. You just, like, people just get deleted. I feel kind of bad.
I do too, but it's like,
I was just like, if you got close to me though, like, you would delete me, so
yeah.
like, it happens a lot. I can't get as much out of it as far, like, in comparison to what? Like, you can't get as much out of it as you do with, like, longbow? Oh, if you do the axe burst. Yeah. I mean, it might just partially have to do with, like, kind of getting used to the rotation itself. Let me come over there. And I can watch your...
I just totally screwed it all up.
I hate when that happens.
So you're wanting to see the hand?
Yeah, I can just watch you and I'll be able to recognize the animations for the most part anyway. I can let you know if I notice anything.
I guess I got kind of a big one that time.
Yeah. Did you end up doing 5 in that as well? Is that what I saw?
Is that... I thought you said 5 was one of the...
Your burst skills on hammer it's going to be 3, 4, 2, or 4, 2, 3. One of those combos. you will end up hitting 5 during your hammer loop, but it's not necessarily part of your burst. Man, that X5 was like. Does he have? He doesn't have any condies on him either. That's gonna affect your. Let's see.
Yeah, if you don't have the golem set up with the right condies, that's gonna like, and if you're not benching with food util, that's gonna
Oh, the
really affect
condies got taken off it?
Yeah, let me go. Spawn a golem. Average, additional options, conditions, give them all. Spawn. There you go.
And always try to bench with food and util unless you're like not really trying, you're just learning, because that's a big percentage of your bench too. It's like what, 3,000 DPS ish?
Wow.
What is?
Food and util.
Let's see.
It's pretty chunky.
There we go. Let's run my burst somewhere around there. You were definitely closer that time. I would say that the main thing is honestly just like going faster, which will come with practice. Just as you get comfy with using hammer, start pushing the limits of how close together you queue your next skill. That's really where I got to with Soul Beast. Once I kind of started to pick up the pattern, I was like, okay, I'm still really short a lot. It's because you can actually queue them together like pretty quickly. Some of them are like virtually, I think like Hammer 2 is like virtually instant cast with how quick you can do it.
The first of Hammer is instant cast, it's fast as fuck.
Yeah. So play around with pushing those limits. Once you get to the point where you're regularly canceling your Hammer 4 Frost Trap and Axe 4, you'll know you're going fast enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed that really increased my DPS was by just really trying to push that.
The other thing that's really hard for me on Soul Beast is that I'm almost always better. Like the opening burst is always so much better than everything else I do that it gets really disheartening.
Yeah, Soul Beast is about that initial burst and then maintaining that DPS, like, and the longer... So I tried for, like, 8 hours straight once to even come close to the current bench, and the closest I could get was, like, 38.5k. And that's me, like, trying my best, benching for hours, like, looking so in-depth at the videos, asking the Snow Crows guys for help, like... It's really hard to hit the Soul Beast bench, like...
Yeah.
I tried so fucking hard. It is so hard to hit the Soul Beast bench.
Zoa's doing pretty good.
Ah, fuck, I canceled my Axe 4. I'm doing better than I thought I would, actually. I also have full infusions, so that helps by like 2k approximately.
I guess it's also worth noting that I've got a bunch of exotic gear.
Yeah, that's gonna affect your DPS as well.
Yeah, well.
Probably by... Is literally everything exotic? Or...
No, it's kind of 50-50.
Okay.
The accessories are ascended, except for the
Idle
backpack.
Are your
And
weapons exotic? That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
My-
Weapons, chest, legs, and I think some...
The chest and the legs are ascended. I don't have the weapons yet.
Yeah, the weapons are a big one. I think they're the biggest. The weapons and the accessories, I think, are the biggest.
there's a
The,
list.
the accessories are.
Yeah.
It's actually... I thought that it
accessories
was...
just a list.
that, but actually, it's kind of a weird order. I have a thing posted on... I think it's in the build resources channel. I can pull it up as soon as I'm done with this.
I thought it was weapons that were, like, the biggest.
There, yeah, they're
No.
definitely some of the weapons, but I was surprised because, like, there were actually a couple armor pieces on there. Yeah, I did okay, like 34, that's kind of common to where I usually am at on my Soul Beast bench, but like
Yeah,
my
that's pretty good.
opener was as like 67k. So yeah, it's very normal. Like you're gonna have a really high like opener burst that then you're gonna see your damage go way down as you go on.
Yeah.
Because it's
Like, you're never going to come back to that opening damage,
Yeah,
which
you're-
does feel a little bad, but that's
Yeah.
just how the class is.
But in fights, what's nice about that is that things phase. You move around, like you're gonna get multiple opener chances usually in a given fight.
Yeah. Yeah, you can try again.
That's what's really nice, like how truncated. Uh-oh, 1 second. Lancey, are you okay?
Sick 'em.
Why have you been barfing today, bud?
More than enough.
Moving right on your board and the carpet.
Sick 'em.
God, just I can't keep the rhythm going at all, and my DPS crashes horribly, and I hate it.
Hi there. Use the console to begin combat testing. If you have any inquiries, come speak to me.
Feeling better, bud? What are you doing? You okay? Okay, sorry about that. What did I miss?
Oh, she's working on the rhythm.
Oh, the rhythm over there.
Mm-hmm.
Poor little baby Lacey.
Oh.
He like will get very uncomfortable when he's about to throw up sometimes.
Oh.
And so he was like yowling and was like drooling and was all fluffed out. Poor baby.
Oh.
What's he puking from, Hairball?
I don't even know. Like he will throw up because he eats too fast. Sometimes, yeah, like the ones where it's like that, where I'm like, I don't know why he throws that up. Like there was maybe a little bit of a hairball in that one. I'm not sure. But he's always hungry.
Sounds like Michael. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. For those of you who are on stream, I'm gonna go ahead and end stream here. Thank you for coming. Yeah. So I'll talk to you later.